Hey guys, as part of our series of reviews of the Walt Disney World Resort hotels, we're going to cover today the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Fort Wilderness is a campground at Disney World, but they also have these cabins that are sort of self-contained little houses, so we're going to review those. To start off with talking about the cabins, we're first going to talk about the pros versus the cons. Then we'll talk about the pools, dining options, transportation, decor in the room, and then at the end I'll have a room tour. I do want to say the room tour was before they did a refurb in 2015. However, the basic structure has not changed, and I will point out the differences. Yeah. They're very minor. It's pretty much the same type of cabin setup.
But it's good improvement with it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Freshening up is always a plus, and when we talk about the bed, that's a huge plus. So you want to talk about the pros?
Pros. Wow, you're not sharing walls with anyone.
It is quiet.
So we're just talking cabins only. We've never done tent camping, and I can see us never doing tent camping there, or
we've never done the RVs.
Yeah. Mobile home hookup. Now you can't. There's companies there that will rent out the mobile homes for you.
Full RV.
I think they actually deliver it.
Yeah, they're RVs. Yeah. They'll deliver them. I don't think they can deliver them to Disney property, but I think they'll meet you somewhere close to Disney property is the way it works. I think there's some restrictions on that, but don't take our words for it. Do your own research, because that's not something we have personal experience with. So he just listed the different types. There's plugins for RVs. There's tent, actually pitch a tent spots. If you want to do that in Florida heat with snakes, be my guest.
Those tent spots are like $75.
Yeah,
they're really pricey for.
Right, when you think, we've gotten rooms that pop within the last year with a discount for like $98. Right. So I would rather have a shower and air conditioning for that price difference. And then the cabins. And the cabins fall in the moderate category. This isn't a pro or a con, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. They fit in the moderate category. However, they're priced almost like a deluxe.
Yeah.
I think you can get a standard room at Wilderness Lodge, which is a deluxe resort, for right about the same price, maybe a few dollars difference as a cabin. However, as Brian pointed out, you've got your whole own little house. What they are is basically a double wide trailer that has a cabin facade on the outside to make it look like a wood cabin. Yep. But you can tell on the inside, if you've ever been in a double wide, it looks like a double wide. I mean, you can tell that's the layout, but they also put a facade on the inside to also make it look like a cabin, like wood beams, rustic looking, but modern, at the same time.
Right, so that's definitely a pro. If you're not sharing walls, so you got no noise from neighbors.
You've got your own deck, your own, we call it a grill down here in the South, and I know up north sometimes you call it a barbecue, but you have your own coal type grill that you can grill out on.
Picnic table on the deck. Yep. Your own driveway for one car, maybe two. I've seen some people fit two maybe.
You might be able to, or a car and a golf cart, because a lot of people rent golf carts, and we'll talk about that when we get to transportation.
Yeah. Other pros is it's nice looking area to get out of it's not Disney. I mean, it's not Disney-fied. Does that make sense? It's not like you're walking out on Pop Century grounds and you see all those, Disney characters and stuff. It's just woods. That's it. Yeah. Which can be a good thing. I think that's
it really can. It lets you unplug.
Yeah, you're all day at the parks, see all the Disney stuff, and all the noise, and having a good time, and you just want to relax. You go back to the cabins, and it's just in the woods. It's nice.
Right, and we'll talk about this with decor, but they do have a few Disney touches inside. But he's talking about the outside, the grounds. Yeah. It looks like you're out in the middle of nowhere in the woods. They really did a great job. Even though it's so close to Magic Kingdom, they make you feel like you're in a remote area.
Unless it's on a holiday, which we'll touch on that later. Other pros?
Well, having a kitchen, it's one of the...
full kitchen.
Yeah, it's one of the only non-DVC resorts that have a full kitchen, and I'm going to qualify that. The last time we stayed there, it was truly a full kitchen.
That's right.
Now, they took away the oven and replaced it with a two burners, so it's like a stove top, but no oven. But they also put in a microwave/convection oven, and you can cook things in a convection oven as well. So That's a little different, so I wouldn't say that's just like your kitchen at home, but it's close. You get a full-size refrigerator, you get the two burners to
you
cook
get all
on,
the pots, pans, plates, silverware, all that's there.
that microwave convection oven, a full sink. Like it really is like having your own. Oh, and it has a dishwasher. It even has a dishwasher, so you don't have to wash your own dishes.
Yeah.
So that to me is a huge plus, because other than 1 bedroom and up of the DVC villas, I can't think of another place that has a full kitchen. I know some of the suites have kitchenettes where you get like a microwave and a sink and a mini fridge, but this is truly a full-size kitchen.
So we would use it, of course, every morning, cook breakfast.
Yep.
Which was really nice.
It really was.
A nice, proper, full breakfast every morning.
That was nice.
Sometimes we would come back and throw a pizza in the oven.
Which now we can't do.
For the evening.
Yeah, and if you've watched our videos, you know I'm gluten-free, and so that's also nice if you have food allergies.
Yeah.
Disney is wonderful about handling food allergies, but there's nothing quite like having your own food and knowing 100% you're not going to have a reaction. So I remember once I got the allergy, the first time we went to the cabin specifically because I didn't realize Disney would be so great, and I was afraid that, I might get exposed. So that's a big plus too if you have picky eaters, allergies, whatever. It's nice having your own kitchen.
I think another pro is the activities they offer. Even though we really didn't take part of the activities they have there. They got fishing, canoeing, I think.
Canoeing?
Yeah, they do.
They've got, now actually almost all these are at a charge, so don't think of this as like free activities.
Carriage rides.
Carriage rides, horse-drawn carriage rides. They have a roasting marshmallows / movie /
Chip and
Dale are out there, and that's one of the only free character things I know of where actual characters come out, and they also have live music at that, so that's pretty neat.
And of course all the other activities they usually have at the pools, on the main pool,
Right. And also there's pros and cons to the dining, and we'll get into that, but they definitely do have some very popular dining, and we'll go into that in detail in the dining section. But I would say for a lot of people that would be a pro.
Yeah, the trails and breakfast is pretty good.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in detail later, but a lot of popular dining options there.
So cons, transportation.
Wait, I got one more pro.
Oops.
I know if you have a family of 6, this wouldn't be the case, but with just 2 of us, I love having a separate bedroom, the separate living, dining, kitchen, meaning it's like a 1-bedroom house.
Yeah, so if someone want to go to bed early or something,
yes,
you can close yourself off, the other person watch TV.
Well, and actually like sitting on a couch to watch TV instead of propping up in bed. So I don't know, I find that, now they have a TV in the bedroom too, so you can do that if you want to, but I love the fact that they have a proper living room, a proper dining room table that seats 6. Like, even though there's only 2 of us, I enjoy the space.
There's actually 2 entrances into the cabin too. So the bedroom has its own entrance outside, which I thought was kind of weird. It's like, when would you ever really use that?
It's so small. I don't see that. I don't get it either.
It's like if someone was staying out late and they didn't want to sneak into the bedroom without waking people up.
Well, I mean, they're so close together, you can almost touch both doors. I mean, that's what's funny to me. They're really close, but whatever. So I think that's about it for the pros, would you say?
Yeah.
I think the thing that can't be overstated enough is the isolation.
Yeah,
I know that
it's
sounds
a short
weird,
list, but the things on the list are huge.
Are huge. And just that peace and quiet, and also the fun of feeling like you're camping without the negatives of camping, meaning you're not getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, you're not in a tent on an uncomfortable air mattress, you're not hot, like you've got all the comforts of home, but you get that woodsy feel. Like I remember the first time we stayed at the cabins, we were like, wow, like we would sit on the deck and just stare out at the woods because it really feels like you're in the woods.
Well, every morning we would have, the weather permitting, have our breakfast outside on the picnic table because it's nice and peaceful.
Yep. So on to the cons.
Cons, transportation.
Yes.
So it does have an inner loop bus system. It's 2 loops, right? 2 buses?
At least. There
2.
might be 3.
That's right. Purple, orange, maybe another
yellow.
color.
I think there's yellow.
Okay.
I think there's 3 bus loops. And this could have changed since the last time we stayed there. So obviously ask when you get there for the latest map. But
I will say for first timers, it's confusing because we were confused.
Yes, it's definitely confusing. It's hard to know which bus to get on to go where.
Yep.
I hear every time we stay there, I hear people asking, how do I get to the trading post? How do I get to, what's the other place called?
Settlement.
The settlement. And then also they have something called I think it's the Meadow. That's where the pool is.
The main pool.
Yeah. And don't quote us on these names. It's been a little bit since we've stayed there, but I would definitely say make sure you have a map, make sure you ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask other people, because if people have been staying there a while, they'll know. But it can be confusing. And then another tip I'll have is ask for your cabin to be as far from the bus as you can, the bus stop.
That was another first trip mistake for us.
Unless you're a heavy sleeper. Like, it's funny, they've told us most people prefer to be close to the bus, but those buses will sometimes run till 3 in the morning if Magic Kingdom's open late. And then they'll also start up at like 6 in the morning. Yeah. And if you've ever been to Disney, you know they make this really loud beeping noise, kind of like a truck backing up. That kind of
every time they lower
down to load and vice versa. And it will wake you up like all night. Yeah. We learned that. And so request a cabin as far as, if you don't mind a little walk. You know, if you
it's not far, because
it's like a 5-minute walk.
Since that first time we've stayed at the first point in each loop, and it's not that long.
No, it's not that long. But I feel like we're going to cover transportation in this discussion anyway as part of the con, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out. So you can take a boat to Magic Kingdom, but it doesn't leave early enough to catch the morning show if there's early magic hours, and sometimes not even if it's regular opening. So if you want to see, and this may change, but at the time of this filming, if you want to see the morning show, you need to take a bus to Wilderness Lodge, and then I think you can catch another either boat or bus from there and make it in time. I can't remember how that works. Or maybe you have to go to Contemporary.
No, I think the best thing is, so they have...
That's it. You take it to Contemporary.
So at the dock, they have 2 boats. They have the main boat, the big boat that goes between the dock and Magic Kingdom. And they have this little small boat, like for the same small boat you see for the Grand Floridian and the Poly, right?
Yep.
It goes from the fort to Contemporary, and then comes back to Wilderness Lodge, and then comes back to the fort. So definitely take that to Contemporary and then walk over.
And then walk to Magic Kingdom. And that way, or you could take the monorail, but that's going to take longer.
Yeah,
the monorail's going to go all the way around. You can walk, and you'll be there in 5 to 10 minutes from the walk, I mean. So if you really want to see the morning show, or really want to guarantee you're there at rope drop, do not depend on the boat, the resort boat that takes you straight from Fort Wilderness to Magic Kingdom. We learned that the hard way, and I'd say that's one of the more frustrating things, that you can't get to Magic Kingdom on time with their preferred method of transportation. Then for all the other parks, you have to take an internal bus to the front. So you have to take an internal bus to the dock to take that boat, or take an internal bus to the front to catch a bus to Epcot, Animal Kingdom, or Hollywood Studios. Now, a lot of people rent golf carts, but that's like $75 or more a day. I don't remember, so don't quote me, and the price changes all the time. You can get golf carts from outside vendors, but they no longer let them deliver them to you at the cabin, so you'd have to have a way to meet them off-site and sort of take delivery of the golf cart. I think they loan you like a truck to bring it in and stuff, but still.
Who drives around with the trailer ready for this?
Right.
They'll have everything. You pulled in, dump, and then take the truck back to them. Yeah,
and so because of that, I think now most people rent from Disney, which is probably what Disney wanted, and it's like $75 or more a day.
It's pretty pricey. You know, if you're there for a week, you know, if you're there for a couple days, I'll totally do that.
Yeah. Well, another thing to remember is the cabins are pretty expensive to begin with.
Yes,
so by the time you add $75 a day on, you're talking upper deluxe, like a really nice deluxe resort. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And then the last option, of course, is driving yourself. Honestly, staying at the cabins, I think that's the best option if you can. Like, if you can rent a car, like, I think that'd be cheaper than the golf cart. And then you can drive straight to the park of your choice without having to deal with that. Magic Kingdom's the only one where you still might want to take their transportation.
The bus to the boat, definitely faster there.
Yeah, because if you drive, you're still going to have to park at the TTC, which is the Ticket and Transportation Center. And then you're still going to have to take either the monorail or the ferry. So for that one, I would say take their transportation. But if you have a car, I would drive to the other 3 parks, because you can park right at your cabin. So I know I mentioned it before, but there is a bus that goes from, it's the area where you would go to catch the boat. And it goes from there to the Wilderness Lodge. And the reason that's a good thing is the Wilderness Lodge has tons more restaurants and entertainment, and it's like less than a 5-minute bus ride. I mean, it's quick. And also you can walk on a trail through the woods between Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge.
It's a nice trail.
It's a beautiful trail. If you want to see hundreds and hundreds of lizards,
deer.
I mean hundreds of lizards. Oh yeah, there's tons of
deer on the trail. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only about a mile, I think, between the two.
It's a nice walk.
So you can walk over there, do some eating, entertainment, whatever, and then walk back. So that's nice as well. So more cons, there's actually not many. I think the transportation is the reason we don't stay there more. I think that's the main
How many times
downside.
have you stayed there? At least 3.
At least 3.
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
So the only other things I would mention are pretty minor. The bedroom is super tight. The last time we stayed there was before they upgraded the bed. The bed used to be full size. And then they also had 2 bunk beds, and even then it was tight. Like you can barely squeeze between, and we'll put a room tour at the end so you can see.
Imagine the same thing as the queen. Same as the queen. It's against the wall, so the person on the wall side is gonna have to scoot down the end
to get out of bed.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And also there wasn't a ton of room between the bed and the bunk bed. So now that they've increased it to a queen, which is great, don't get me wrong, that's a big plus. Because a full size for 2 grown adults is pretty tight. So the queen's great, but that's going to take up even more of that room. And it was a tight room.
I'm trying to picture that nightstand, like how much smaller can it be now? Because before there's no room.
It looked like it was the same.
Oh,
but from pictures I've seen. So that's one negative, is just the fact somebody's going to be against the wall, have to scoot to the end of the bed, depending on where you sleep. Another negative to me is since they remodeled, this wasn't true last time we stayed there, but I've seen pictures, since they replaced the Murphy bed with a fold-out couch now in the living room, they put a big TV where the Murphy bed used to be, which is great, and they put a bunch of drawers under it for more storage, which is badly needed because the closet is tiny in that tiny bedroom we were just talking about. I mean, that would be another negative, I guess, or con. There's very little storage, especially if you were actually sleeping 6. With 2 people, we use the bunk beds to put suitcases. But
that could be another con. If you have 6 people, 1 bathroom.
1 bathroom, 1 bathroom. But anyway, so they added more storage, which was great. But the couch is at a 90-degree angle to the TV, which I don't like. Used to, the TV was across the room from the couch. Now the couch is on a wall and the TV is that way, so you don't have to turn your head.
So we don't know because we haven't been there since they remodeled. I wonder if the TV has one of those fold-out arms. Sometimes they do. You know, they swing out.
You'd still be at an angle though. Like I like to just sit and look straight. I don't want to be twisted.
I'm gonna have to assume they have an arm.
It must.
Because otherwise, that's just really weird.
But you've got the dining room chairs and also one other large chair, like a cushion chair. So you could always pull one of those out and face the TV. You know, I mean, it's not the end of the world or anything. But that's a slight con. But also, like he mentioned, if you have 6 people, because it will sleep 6, that's another pro, I guess. Because a lot of places won't sleep 6. They'll sleep 5, but not 6. Yep. 1 bathroom, and I mean that place would be tight. I mean it would be so tight because even with the 2 of us, that bedroom feels so tight. If you had 4 people in that bedroom, it would be really tight. Plus your kids would be sleeping with you because 2 of the bunk beds are in the bedroom with the queen bed. You know, unless you slept on the fold-out couch, I guess you could do it that way, but it would definitely be tight.
Yep.
Is that it for cons?
I think so. Yeah, we did pros, cons, and we skipped the transportation. We covered that.
Oh, I will say one con, which we'll sort of cover when we do pools, is the quiet pool isn't really quiet.
Yeah,
and we'll go into more detail about the pools.
That's next.
Oh, that's next. Pools. So the main pool is great.
Main pool is awesome.
It's huge. It's got tons of activities, you know, just like all the Disney resort pools do.
It never seemed crowded either.
No, it's spaced out nice to where, and there's a huge splash area for kids, you know, those play areas. It's really great, I think. I like that pool a lot.
The quiet pool's not so great.
No, and this goes back to the downside of transportation. A lot of times your cabin is too far to walk to either pool, and so you have to take a bus to get to the pool, and you say, well, what's the big deal? Well, you stand and wait on the bus in 2 directions, but also those buses are freezing. So if you get out of the pool and you have to get on a bus, it's cold, plus you're all wet, so it feels kind of gross getting on a bus.
It's like walking into a walk-in freezer.
It is. So that would be a downside, but we think the reason the quiet pool is not quiet, it's not very big. but a lot of people go there because if it's the closest one, they just go to whichever one's closest. They don't want to take a bus to the further, the big main pool, and the laundry's at the quiet pool, which is weird. I think it's the only place, unless they've moved it, I think it's the only hotel we've stayed at Disney where the laundry is at the quiet pool instead of the main pool. Well, no, that's not true. Coronado had one at the quiet pool. So that's not true across the board. That's not true across the board. So now we're going to talk about dining. And the only place that we've actually eaten there is the Trails End restaurant.
List off the dining options first.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So Trails End.
And that's a buffet / you can get some a la carte to go type items as well, but mostly a buffet.
Well, it's both the main sit down dining and quick service.
Right.
It's like half.
It's
like half.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Hoop-Dee Doo Review.
Yeah,
very
which
popular.
is a dinner show,
We've
hugely popular. Yeah, we've not done it. It's not really our cup of tea. But
loud music while you're eating doesn't really sit well with me.
Well, and also the style of the show is not my cup of tea.
And then the Backyard barbecue with Mickey.
Yes. And
is it just Mickey, or are there other characters?
We haven't been, so we can't speak to that.
That's another popular one.
Very popular. But they're both very expensive. Look up the current price on Disney's website. I don't want to quote it, but they're pricey. I'm talking like, could be $70, $80 a person depending on the time of year. The barbecue might be a little less, but it's still pretty up there. These are not cheap dining options, which that also falls into why we haven't done it. Not only is it maybe not our first choice, but we don't do a lot of pricey dining. We usually only do one a trip of sort of like, because that's almost signature price. When you get up in that price range, you're getting close to signature dining.
So we've done Trails End several times. We've done, I think what's popular for the quick service is bucket of chicken, right?
Which we have not done.
Yeah.
They do quite a few things to go.
So of course everything's to go at the quick service because
there's nowhere to sit.
Yeah, you can't like get something good, expect to sit down in the dining room. No, that's for the table service,
Right, yeah, so there's no tables to sit at, even outside, which is kind of odd. I'm surprised they don't have picnic tables out there.
I think there are picnic tables.
Well, but they're pretty far down. They're not
the playground, right?
Yes, right around the playground. They're not right there.
It's a huge playground,
so you could do that. It is a nice playground, the outdoor playground. And this is also where the marina is. So there's a lot of really cool, and it's sort of made to look like an old saloon town. Like, it's very cute. Yeah. And there's a tavern called Davy Crockett's Tavern, isn't it? It's really cute. The theming, I think, is fantastic.
That's why they have a walk-up window to the bar, too.
They do.
So you don't have to go inside. You walk up to the window.
We've never used it, but they sure do. And they have two ranches is what they call them, where they have horses and ponies, and there's pony rides, and again for a fee, horse rides. But what's cool is you can go look at the horses for free. What I will say is it's only open to like 3 p.m. So you're usually at the park during that time.
We actually made an effort one trip to go. And it was worth it.
It was worth it.
Horses, those massive horses.
It's the ones you see on Main Street, the pulling the carriages and stuff. So these are like Clydesdales, like really giant horses. And they have this really old carriage that's like vintage, and it's neat. It's definitely worth seeing.
So this is also stuff you can see if you're staying at other resorts.
True, you can hop over there, especially if you come over to dine.
In fact, when we saw this deal, we weren't
staying there. It's when we went for the brunch.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about Trails End. So they have a dinner buffet, which we have never done. And I think they have a la carte sit down eating at lunch, which we've also never done. Yeah. However, we've done both breakfast options, which is a normal breakfast buffet. And then on, I think, Sunday, they have a brunch. So we did the breakfast buffet one time when we were staying there, and it was fantastic.
It was awesome.
And it's cheap by Disney standards. I always have to qualify that, but I think it was, at that time, under $20 a person. It might be more now.
I think it was your typical Disney spread, meaning I don't think they had anything unique.
I don't think so, but they had tons of stuff that was gluten friendly, allergy friendly, like tons of stuff for him to eat. Like, it was definitely a great selection. I think they had things that most picky eaters would enjoy.
Yeah. Now, the brunch?
We may have just had a bad experience, and that's always something to keep in mind, but I can say we're never going to go back for that brunch.
So we're there with my sister's family, so that was 6 of us. I don't think anyone really was happy with it.
Yeah, no.
So maybe it was off day.
It could have been off day.
Everyone didn't really care for it.
The food wasn't great. My food was plain old bad. I had some.
It was actually a bad selection for vegetarians.
When I
everything had meat in it.
Raw waffles. My waffles, gluten-free waffles, came out raw, like totally raw in the middle. And I sent them back, and they came out raw again in the middle.
Yeah.
And then the poor server that we had, she was fantastic, but she was totally swamped. They had her on way too many tables.
Yeah.
So to get her attention was really difficult, like to give drink refills. So we may have just had a really bad experience.
To be fair, it was towards we went when they first offered it, right? It was pretty new, so maybe they're just getting used to it.
This was in June of 2016. Anyway, you may go and you may love it, you may have been and you may have loved it. Our personal experience was not positive, but we loved the traditional breakfast, just the regular breakfast
Highly
buffet.
recommend it.
And it was very affordable, totally recommend it. That's the other thing, the brunch was much more expensive, so I think that's another reason we didn't feel like it was good of a value.
Also, the breakfast, there was not many people there, so it was nice and quiet, whereas the brunch, man, it was packed.
It was totally packed. So anything else for dining? I think that's about it. So for decor, we talked a little bit about that. I will mention a couple of things both inside and outside. In the room, they do, even though we mentioned it's not overly Disney-fied, they do have a couple of pictures. There used to be a train that ran through Fort Wilderness, and unless during the remodel they took it down, they had a picture of that old train that ran. It's no longer there, but they had a picture of it. And then they also had a Bambi and Thumper picture up. So they had little Disney touches. And
little Disney prints.
I think there were some hidden Mickeys maybe in the curtains, like, you know, around the
But overall,
room.
it wasn't much Disney.
It's not very Disney. Yeah. And then, as I mentioned, the common areas are all made to look like a pioneer town, like, you know, like a saloon, and, you know, it's just really cute.
The naming of the thing, settlement, trading post.
Right. It's really cute. And I think, honestly, if you had children, they would just love that. I mean, I would have loved that as a child.
The huge thing with the decor is if you're going to go to the cabins and you're only going to do it once, go during a holiday.
Yes.
And two holidays come to mind would be Halloween and Christmas.
Yes. So one of the things that it's sort of famous for, but you may not know about, is at Halloween and Christmas, the RV section in particular, they go crazy with decorations.
The cabins people do too, because we did put out lights.
We put out
lights.
But the RVs
do
go over the top.
Out.
I mean, tons of blow-ups, tons of lights. It's just amazing. And you can walk around, or if you're lucky enough to have a golf cart, you could, you know, put her around your golf cart. If you have bikes, that's another thing. You bring bikes and bike around. We see a lot of people doing that. You could definitely enjoy that. We've loved both. We've been there both seasons, and they definitely go all out. And also,
I say more Halloween than Christmas.
Really? No, I thought Christmas was more.
Really?
Both are very heavily decorated. But also, they do decorate the common areas of the resort very beautifully too. The area where all the restaurants are that we just mentioned, they put up a beautiful tree, and they put up all this garland. It's more your traditional, like green and red, like they keep it very, you know, I don't want to call it subtle, but you know what I mean? It's not the garish, like, lights, but it's really, really well done.
Room? We kind of covered room. Anything else you want to say about the room?
I don't think there's anything else to say, but we will follow this up with a room tour now. And so keep in mind, this is pre-reno, but like I mentioned, the changes are mostly cosmetic. The only thing that we didn't mention, I think, you know, during our other conversation, is they upgraded everything in the kitchen, like the backsplash, the counters, the bathroom counters.
Nice,
like they really freshened it up. So I'm not trying to minimize that. It's just that it doesn't really change the functionality. I think we already covered all the functional changes from the reno. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna step into the cabin now and check it out. So here's what the deck looks like. We brought a few Christmas lights to put up there. This is my first time using the magic bands. And we have success. So one thing we really love is you get a completely full-size kitchen, which is awesome, and a nice living room, and a nice dining area. The downside is if you have a big family, these sleep 6, there's only one bathroom. and only one sink. You would think they would at least have a double vanity, but it's only one. But it's a nice bathroom, and since there's only 2 of us, it's actually really nice. And then this is the bedroom, which is separate, which is also nice. And extra bunk beds that we don't need. The only thing we don't like about the bedrooms here is the bed is shoved up against the wall, as you can see, so it means one person has to crawl to the end of the bed to get out. And you get a closet. And here's a little sort of vanity area that you can get ready at. So thanks for watching this review of the cabins at Fort Wilderness at Disney World. We really hope it's helpful to you and helps you decide if it's somewhere you might want to stay. If you've already stayed at the cabins, we'd love to hear from you and what you think. Also, if you've been to the brunch and had a great experience, please leave that in the comments because that'll help our other viewers.
Yeah, I really hope we just had a...
I hope we did too. And like I said, it was early on.
Because you know we like our brunches.
We do. We do. So we always appreciate subscribes, likes, shares, and comments. Bye!